Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? I know it is once again that time when we get in and get on and talk a little bit. Tonight is going to be a very, I think, a very special show for me and the fellas tonight. We're going to be talking tonight on a few things that are very, I think, that are very important aspects of life. And the topic that we're on tonight is things I wish I would have learned. And this is like things that I wish I would have learned early instead of the relationship, the time I get into the relationship that I'm in now. For some, marriage may be, for some, it's just a serious relationship, or finally, they've locked into a place where they finally got a chance to see exactly what life is really about. So tonight we're gonna talk tonight. I'm hoping that the guys on deck tonight. I got my fellas in the house. Right quick, like let me give a big shout out to the team, the fellas that are on right now. Of course, we got
Rashad.
Rashard in the house. What's up, Rashard?
What's up, Rashad?
We got brother.
Man? How
We
y'all
got
fellas doing?
All right, man. We're doing good, man. We got brother Cam in the house tonight as well. And guys, we're gonna have this conversation tonight. But before we get started, man, how y'all feeling? What's up, Rashad? How you feeling, bro?
Feeling good.
Doing good, brother. Feeling great.
Good, man. I see you looking 20 years
Yeah,
younger.
yeah. I'm looking. I was just about to say that, man.
I see you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
look like a light.
Gotta ship some of that from Miami on up here. What you drinking around there, young
Oh,
man?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I'm
yeah.
checking them out.
Hey, it's called GYM.
Okay,
Jim.
I feel you, man. I feel you. Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that at all.
How y'all doing over there after Hurricane Ian?
Hey,
Uh,
man.
doing good, doing good.
Yeah,
Okay.
doing good. We
Yeah.
didn't get affected at all on this side. We
Mm-mm.
didn't even lose
Okay.
power where I'm at, so that was a
That's
blessing, man.
wonderful, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, so many people got affected in a very adverse way, man. It was really Fort Myers and those guys down on the coast, Tampa side. Man, a lot
Yeah.
of those guys, it was really bad. I think it was said that it was lost hundreds of lives down on that Fort
Mm-hmm.
Myers. And
Yeah,
uh,
that body count. I was, after it happened, I wasn't even really processing that people had lost their lives, and then it
right,
popped up like it was like
yeah,
I was like, wow,
yeah,
you know,
unbelievable, man. The video
yeah,
footage and stuff, unbelievable.
yeah.
And
The images are shocking.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there.
I
I got
mean,
a lot of
hey,
family there, man, in Fort Myers.
bro,
And
you should have seen how it flooded. Kissimmee got flooded
yes,
Yeah, I saw
yes,
that. Yeah,
really
Orlando as
bad.
well. Orlando as
yeah,
well,
Did
man.
you see Lake Eola?
yeah.
Yes, underwater.
Hey,
Even the roadway was
uh,
underwater in
Yeah,
Lake
that
Eola.
was crazy.
Yeah,
you remember Richmond Heights?
Yeah,
Covered with water.
yeah, I know. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a river in front of my aunt's house. It's a river,
yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
man.
Yeah, so that's amazing though, man, when you really think about it, man. It's just man, but it makes you even more thankful, you know what I'm saying? Because you kind of you it could have been anybody as far as the tornadoes and stuff that was able to come through. So it's
Yeah,
like,
God is good, man.
yeah, God is good, man, in spite of everything else that's happened. But definitely want to send prayers out to the families that were affected,
And
man.
let me hit you with something that
Loved
happened,
ones.
man.
What's that?
The day after, I had put a post up on Facebook. I said, the one with Joy come up in the morning,
Right,
and one of the cats said, ain't no Joy came in the morning, bro. We lost everything.
right.
So
Wow.
I responded back. I said, man, hey man, just hold on. God is good. Everything gonna be all right. He said, man, ain't no God.
You didn't want to hear that, yeah.
He said, ain't no God, man. He said, ain't prayer. And what we gonna pray for?
Right,
And I was like, wow, so at one point I said, look, let me leave it alone and put it in God's hand because there ain't nothing I
Mhm.
can tell him right now. I
yeah,
don't know
exactly.
what to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah,
You know,
in mourning, in the stage of mourning, man. Well, in the stage of mourning, it's like a hard time for some people to hear. God, if you
Mhm.
haven't had a certain level of relationship with God before the disaster, it's very hard for you to grasp anything concerning who God still is after a
Right.
disaster. You know what I'm saying? So
you
it really
know,
is important, man. It's sad, but the enemy takes advantage of these moments when
right,
disasters happen to try to make people turn their face away from God and doubt that there's a God at all. But we got to always remember that life itself happens outside of God. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
God is God. You know what I'm saying? And I understand the blessings of God, favor of God, but life still happens. We can't live forever. You see what I'm saying? So we have to always keep that in perspective. Yeah, man. But hey, man, it's just a blessing, man. See all y'all face on the screen though. God, that's good.
Yeah, man.
Y'all here. So tonight I'm hoping we can spread a little bit of sunshine tonight. And have the conversations tonight that really do a conversation that I believe is going to help a lot of people. Let me just say, first of all, I just want to give a big shout out to May. Hey, May, how you doing? I'm glad to see you're on tonight. Thank you so much for jumping in. Thank you so much for jumping in, May. Hello also to Michelle. Hey, Michelle, thanks for jumping in and joining us tonight. I see I see the Tiffany's online tonight with us. Thanks for jumping in, Tiff. Chef, I see you. Yes, please, everybody tag somebody. Tell them to come in. Tell some people to jump in on the show tonight. Thank you so much. Hey, Sonia, good to see you online as well. God bless you guys. Please go ahead and take a moment, fellas. I'm going to do the same thing right quick. And I'm going to go ahead and invite some people in. So you guys can take a few seconds and just go ahead and invite somebody in and let them know, hey, man, we're online right now. Just send a invite out to as many people as you can right quick. I'm saying that to everybody that's online as well with us so that we can kind of just, before we dive into all of the content tonight, I just want to take a moment and invite some folk right quick. So while we are getting ready to do that, I'm going to just throw this up right quick while we do this. Hey, it's Thomas Ware here. Go pick up your copy of Reinvention of the Black Man, Declaration of Dependence. It's available on Amazon and Walmart, so get your copy today. All right, and we're back on. And guys, I hope you guys have been blessed so far this week. Today is the show that we talk about what I should have learned. Man, what I should have learned before, the things I really wish I would have learned and I should have learned before. Whether it's just a relationship that you finally found the right person, or B, you're married. And man, it's a lot of things you wish you would have learned from a male standpoint correctly that could have helped you so much more where you are today. That's a very important thing. I think it's very important for us to ask that question, mainly because, let me just say this right quick, if I could just cue in, mainly because when we think about, our relationships, so many times, man, you get the most wisdom that you could possibly get from mistakes and things of that nature. But then again, at the same time, what you could tell your son, what you could tell another young man at this point, those things you've gained. And I've realized something, man, more than anything, as human beings, one of our greatest purposes on this earth, outside of just giving God honor and praise, one of the greatest purposes on this earth is, man, being able to pass on or pass along information. I remember, even in scriptural text, when we talk about how God always told the generation before to tell the next generation about God, tell them about the things that happened, tell them about the things you experienced. And so, therefore, these things were the things that would keep the next generation. Now, each generation did not follow the pretext. You know what I'm saying? That each generation did not follow it. But what some generation would come along sooner or later and did it the right way. And it's the same way for us when it comes to men, relationship, human beings, period, passing on information so that the next generation does not have to suffer or go through so many downfalls before they actually get in position to do great things. So a lot of times we mess up. Once we do get in a great position to do great things, we've lost so much time already to where it really does defeat us in a lot of ways. I love to say, never say it's too late, but I have to say in some situations, you can really be at the verge of too late. So I don't want to ever fool anybody at that point. So these are some of the things that we're going to share tonight, fellas. All right, guys. So how do you feel? How do you feel about this topic, fellas? And tell me exactly now which one of you guys want to go first. I have other people jumping in right quick, and they are inviting people in. Hey, Lakeitha, how you doing? Lakeitha, I'm so happy you jumped on. I'm glad you jumped in tonight. Thank you so much. All right, so let's do this, fellas. Talk to me, man. What do y'all think? What do you think? What do you think? What's one of those things, Rashad? You tell me what's one of those things, and don't give us everything at one time. I want to be able to take this bit by bit, each person. You know what I mean? What's one of those things that you wish you would have learned, and expound on it a little bit?
The power of communication.
Wow, that's big. That's big.
Very, very big in relationships. You know, the power of communication. As being young, you don't really know how to communicate and express yourself. And a lot of times when we do actions and things instead of talking about things that we could have settled it and made it right. A lot of times, you know, we swept a lot of things under the rug. You know, walked around with your fist balled up, mad at each other instead of just talking about it. You know, that communication is key. You know. And that's what I think. That's the biggest one for me.
Oh, let me ask you this. So inside of communication, what part of communicating do you think is that part of communication where you get the aha moment about communication? What did you grasp that made it say, you know what, man, that's that one thing I wish I could learn?
Mine was that I was a great communicator with everybody else except for with her.
Right.
You know, it's just like, and I realized, and me and her both then got to the point where we realized that, okay, Thomas, Ware, Cameron, you could say something about me, it probably wouldn't even bother me. But if she say the same thing, boy, it really hurt.
Right.
And a lot of times your response is to come back and say something just as hurtful. You know what I'm saying? So I realized the power of words, the intention of words also. So I realized that, you know, I need to use my words to build instead of destroy. It's easier and it's more respectful to build somebody up than to try to tear them down. And now I try to do something. I try to look for the good things in people. You know, it's easy to pick out everybody's faults. We all stumble and got things that we don't do well or we're not great at. But sometimes we tend to focus on those things instead of focus on what they do good.
Right.
And I realize now if I spend more time focus on the things that she does great, you know, it makes things a lot better.
Yeah. Awesome. That's good.
Did I answer the question? Or did I tap that?
You did. No, you answered the question. You answered the question. No, absolutely, man. And that's really good. I think that's like one of those areas, man, that I believe a majority in, you know, I know we're kind of touching on the men topic, but the majority of people don't know. And let me say it this way, especially our community. They do not know communication and the importance of it. I believe the grave is filled with at least 40 to 50% of the grave is filled with people from our community that died as a result to not knowing how to communicate in some way.
I agree with that. Wow, that's a powerful statement, right?
Because before we can talk, we'll fight. You know what I'm saying? Before we can, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, we never even and in most times it's misunderstandings that people end up in, you know, dead or in jail over misunderstanding when you could have had a decent conversation if you knew how and really solved a lot of the issues that we ever really had. So yeah, man, that's deep. I'm glad you said that one, brother Cameron.
One of the things that I feel like I had learned is myself, learn a lot more about me, because I wouldn't have questioned myself a whole lot. Well, why is this going wrong? What am I doing wrong? You know, I had no direction, you know, and biblically, if I had learned a lot more as far as, you know, relationship wise, I remember my dad used to tell me to read the book of Solomon,
Right.
right? Well, I think we used to talk about the bosoms and sex things, whatever. But your breast is like two roses. I don't know if you ever came across that.
Right.
But other things as far as in relationship, as far as finances and stuff like that. I wish I had knew how to handle those things myself, and
Right.
then might have made that person in the past better. Now, I'm not taking all the blame
Right.
at all, and I would not take all the blame because there was a lot of things that I saw in the past with relationships that I don't think was right. I must say, about an hour ago, one of my next door neighbors, he's a Christian. Him and I were talking. He said to me, he said, man, you remember when you prophesied to me? And I said, I did. I couldn't remember. He said, yeah, we're not together anymore. But he was actually next door by his ex-wife, not the wife that he's with now. But he
Right.
was talking about the wife that he's with now. He said, yeah, we're not going to be together. We decided not to be together because we were sitting there watching TV, a program, a Christian program, and the preacher was talking about, if you left your first wife, um, how it's not right if they're not dead, and they're still alive, and da, da, da. And some of the things he was saying to me was kind of off, because I know if you cheated, it's okay for a person to go leave their wife or husband if the person commit adultery and so forth, right? So I think he had a mixed understanding about that. He didn't really have it together, but I didn't really want to get into it. But as far as me telling him they weren't going to be together, I cannot remember that, bro. Cannot. But going back to me, I just felt that I wish I'd known a lot more about myself. You
Right.
know.
Right. Right. No, I do get it though. That the phrase, just knowing more about yourself. I think a great deal. I even like I've had those moments where it's a lot of things that I did in the past that I can't even give you an explanation why. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of things relationship wise, I can't give you a true explanation why, because it's a lot of things I walked out of, a lot of things that I walked into, that all because I really didn't know who I was, my worth. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature.
Mhm.
So I think I get it. I get what you're saying there, man. I'll share, man. I think for me, I think one of the things I wish I knew that I would have learned was how, and it's funny because Brother Shaft actually put this on the screen, and he said learning how to connect with people that he loved. And truly, I believe that would be my number one card to pull, is that I really wish I would have learned early how to show and know that it was okay to show emotions as a man. um, I believe that created a monster, you know what I'm saying, in a lot of ways. My response to people, my reaction, things and back to what you were saying, Rashad, on the communication part, because I never knew how to show any form, how to control emotions, how to show it was okay to show my emotional side. I would lash out in a more of an aggressive way than a compassionate way. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it was one of them things I believe, and even that right there, that's another one of those areas I believe for black men. I believe that's another one of those areas for black men where we really have been cheated. Like, you know what I'm saying? We really, you know, us three on this video right now, we probably shared with each other more than we've shared with any other man, probably, about our
Mhm.
lives.
Yeah,
You know
most
what I'm saying? Our
definitely. Mhm.
thoughts and the things that we care about. And that's basically because we have a bond. that has been developed through time. But could you imagine if we knew it was okay, and it wasn't one of those things where somebody said you was soft, or you was in some way, shape, or form like you wasn't a man if you shared with other men things, you know what I'm saying, I believe it would make you stronger, because that's what it's made all of us. It makes us stronger. Instead of in looking weak, we actually become stronger when we share. And so what happens, man, like even in relationship now, it took me a long time in the relationship realm. It took me a very long time to open up enough with my wife to where I could actually show any form of softness or compassion showing. And that was one of our biggest wars, if I could say. One of the biggest wars that we had was always surrounding that area. I can remember when we married. She had a son when we married. My son. So he actually was about 9 years old. But I tell you, man, I regret so much about our marriage in the beginning, because I did not know how to even connect with him. You know what I'm saying? Even when I tried to, I didn't know how to connect with him. And I was very standoffish. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, yeah. So it for me, I wish, like, now we're building a great bond now that he's older, and that's only because I've had kids of my own that were biological kids of my own. I treat him just like he's my son, but the biological kids of my own have that's when I first really started, connecting to my emotions a lot in that phase. Yeah. And now it almost makes me wonder, bro. Like, it makes me wonder, why didn't my father have, well, it happened later. Let me put it that way. For all the brothers before me, it was never seen. But by the time I got like up around 13, 12 or 13, my dad finally started showing a softer side. But before that, he was rough the whole time. So I never got a chance to really, I believe it would have happened in my earlier days when I was, the age where children usually catch and learn, you know what I'm saying, actions. I believe I would have had a different result all the way up. You were about to say something, Rashad. I'm sorry, brother.
Yeah, that's a tough one now, man. I got a stepdaughter, and I have so many regrets for things I could have done, should have said, didn't want to offend nobody, didn't want to step on no toes, didn't want to feel like I was overstepping my boundaries.
Yes.
And and as it may be, I'm the only daddy she know, but at the same time, sometimes I felt like I was in a weird place. Like, and she got siblings from her mother that are mine, but in dealing with her, I let her do things I would not let my daughter do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't say nothing.
Right.
But when I could have said something, and me and her, we've sat down now. She's in her 30s now. We've had a lot of discussions, and actually, it really was a big relief and a thing that bonded made me and her come even closer. I know she definitely got more respect for me now, being 30 and got kids of her own, than she did when we was young.
Yeah.
Because it like you say, that's a hard place, brother. That's a hard.
Yeah, it's rough.
Trying to come in and build that bond, but you at the same time, I don't want to be his friend. I don't want to be her friend. I'm daddy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I definitely understand where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
That's a hard one though.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. So I see we have someone said
hey, but hold on, bro. Check this out. I want to say that, and TJ a good dude.
Oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But imagine if he was a knucklehead.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just putting it in perspective.
Yeah.
The hard time you had with a good dude.
Yeah.
Trying to find that space with him.
Right.
Imagine if you trying to deal with a knucklehead trying to find that space.
Yeah.
That's a hard one, man.
Yeah. But I I thank God that it was the ability, the time. I believe God does all things. You know, He works things the way He works it out. And but our relationship now is great. You know what I'm saying? It's a great
Yeah.
relationship. I mean, I granted when he was young, I tried to do as much as I could and try to be who I could be. You know what I'm saying? But what I didn't know how to do, I just didn't know how to do. So you know, but you know, that was a blessing. Now that we are where we are, and now you know, raising more young men and a little young lady, it really does help me to now be able to. I've learned through that process. You see what I'm saying? And I wish I would have known that before marriage. You know what I'm saying? I wish I would have known that before.
Yeah.
Definitely. I see that Lakeithia says that the lack of communication or emotion in our men was taught and passed down. You're absolutely right.
Right.
And so you think about, you know, we talk about mental illness a great deal on this show in different areas. But when we think about mental illness, our community suffers from the trauma that has never been dealt with. Like
Yeah.
when we look at the Jews, they have all type of programs and systems in place to deal with the Holocaust and all of the things that happened. They have a lot of things. Hey, brother James, good to see you on tonight, brother. So they have all these things in place, but when it comes to the African American community, we really do not. We've never really had that we dealt with actual trauma from years and years. You know, it's been passed down from years and years. So the things that we deal with, this is a lot of those areas why we don't have those emotions, why we don't show it, because so much has been so much trauma can really turn you into an animal in some way. And I noticed like our young people now, a lot of the young artists that are rap artists in the generation now, they push the term savage, and they push it as if though it's something great to be, when truthfully what they're really doing is co-signing on the fact that the element of humanity, the thing that ties us together as humans, our emotions, are being able to show compassion to each other, love to each other. Those things are really missing, and is being taught now to not have those elements. You know what I mean? So when we look at that, man, that is a very, very hard pill to swallow when you look at it. You know what I mean? So
You know, another tough lesson, brother, the
yeah.
ability to receive love.
Oh man, yeah.
That was a tough one for me.
Yeah,
You
that's a
know,
good
it
one.
was a lot of times love, it came off as, you know, something I kind of like, you know, question, was it real? Is it what they really want? What they trying to get from me? Even from a fella,
Yeah,
from one of my boys,
yeah,
you know, and you know, it was kind of it was a growing process, a learning process for me to be able to let my guard down and say, hey, man, you know, you my friend, you this for me. So I'm gonna really let my guard down with you. I'm open up my life to you, open up my heart to you. You know what I'm saying? That's a hard one. That was a hard one for me.
yeah,
And you know, I got to the point now where you know, I'm like opening up to everybody. You know,
yeah,
just showing love. That's just the grace of God did that. I can't say it was nothing
yeah.
else.
You know, I feel you too, man. You know, it's funny because I go back to I remember when I first started coming into certain settings from from my life running wild in the streets to not church yet, but just into more I guess you would say economical uh,
Corporate,
corporate
corporate,
settings and things
yeah,
of that nature. When I would meet people and people would introduce me to someone new, and that person would shake my hand, and I guess they could just feel the vibe that, you know, I'm really wasn't like, you know, really open to meet people, like, you know what I'm saying, like to really be, you know, really
and the handshake go,
cozy with
you
people.
can feel it in that handshake if it ain't right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah. And I it was hard for me to really, at that time, it was hard for me to really smile. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
smile a lot. I didn't really smile a lot like that. You know what I'm saying? So So I think it gave off the vibe, but it kind of gave a bad vibe off in most of those settings because it just kind of it's just one of them things, man, where you just kind of like, I don't trust people, and it's like, I don't really like people like that. I don't really want to be around people like that. But life kind of pushes you into more settings like where you have to learn at some point how to connect with people. Like, and even today, the crazy thing is me and my wife, we laugh about this a lot. And she's a real social butterfly. For me, I believe she's the social butterfly. Like, you know what I'm saying? She can meet people. She has a great personality, the whole nine. Myself, I still find it like I'm not one of those people that can get out and just network. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just meet people, just have open conversations with people that I don't know. She can, I can't. You know what I'm saying? I still have some barriers, you know what I'm saying, in place where it's where I have I have to really push myself, you know what I'm saying, to really open up to people that I don't know. And I think that is one of those things. I think that even that is one of those things that kind of is a cultural thing. Because really, when you start thinking about, you know, how the areas we grew up in and the people you dealt with through time, most people that we dealt with were not good people. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So they weren't. It's like if you did let your guard down, they might find you in a ditch. You know what I'm saying? They might, you may be, dead the next day. So those are some of those. That's another good point, bro. That's a really good point. That's another good thing, man. Something that I wish I would have learned. And that if I put that on top of that, man, I wish I would have learned how to pick the right circles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To just really be in, you know what I'm saying? All of this stuff really does flow over into your relationship.
Wasted a lot of years running with the wrong people.
Right, with the wrong people. And then you end up, you spend so many years with the wrong women. You know what I'm saying? The wrong, everything, the wrong everything. You know what I'm saying? And now you come into like relationships and you bring all of this baggage with you. You know what I mean? And that's a hard place to be in, man, because now you got to work backwards, just to try to learn basically you're learning the game in the last quarter.
Yeah, well said.
What it feels like, you know what I'm saying? Brother Cam, what about you, man? Is that what's another one of those?
You know, well, I was a little different. I used to see my dad treat my mom a certain way, take her out to these nice fancy restaurants and make little things and give her. So I saw all of that, So when I got in my relationship early, I was a communicator, and for some reason, you both young, women sometimes still have things in the back of their head, whereas they want to talk to other people. We were real young. Me, in my mind, okay, you get with somebody, maybe I could marry him. That's how I was around 17, 18, by almost 19, I had done drop a whole lot of stuff. Like I got hurt so bad, I stopped giving flowers. I didn't care, whatever. I just started being a dog. and it didn't just stop there for us communication, for us talking wise, but eventually, because I went through a whole lot, it just faded away, and I didn't really care anymore. All I cared about was me and getting what I wanted to get.
Right.
That was it. Right. So, I was just doggish.
Right.
And you know what helped me out a lot? Reading Proverbs every day.
Ah,
good.
Some powerful words in there.
That's it right there. Yeah.
About communication and about relationships.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So what I started doing, like every morning, if it's like today, was the 5th, I read the 5th book of Proverbs and the 5th Psalm. And after a few months, I kept reading them Proverbs, man, like kind word, just showing you, a soft word is better than a strong word, just a little thing. And I started trying to apply those things that I read. And I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Everybody loves a friend that brings gifts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But God, He laid it out for you, though, man.
Right.
That builds relationships, you know, and the anger, you know, the anger is
Mhm.
there's no room for it, man. There's no room for it. But I think God gave us anger as an emotion for a reason.
Yeah.
When things ain't right. But we're not supposed to let that anger control us to where it takes us to rage.
Right.
You know, it's okay for you to feel upset about something, and that thing made you mad.
You know the thing about anger, when you get angry, it's when you're angry, and this is something that's really gonna, might throw a loop for some people. But sometimes the best time for your own soul to search itself is when you're angry. Two times, sadness and anger are two of the best times for you to soul search. Like really look at yourself and why. You know what I'm saying? Things that you do, why things have happened. You kind of start questioning yourself. You start questioning processes and things like that, man, when you get angry. And I think it's a very good emotion to have, to tell you the truth. The Bible says be angry, but do what? Don't sin. You know what I'm saying? You can be angry, but just don't sin not. And it's really a thin line between that, because you can slide over into the rage area. But I think anger really does help to really make you think deeper. Because really anger is a form of brokenness.
Mhm.
It really is. It's an extension of brokenness. It's really at a place where you've lost control of something,
Yeah,
and
you're right.
like you can't really take that control, and you feel that hurt there. So I think it's a good thing, man. I would say for me that next level, for one of the things that I wish I would have learned earlier.
You both
Say again.
you both hit it on the nose and make me realize something. That's what was wrong with me. I was so angry, like, man, these girls, man, whatever. So I started just like not caring and basically disrespecting in a way, as all I wanted was one thing.
Right.
That was it. I
And not
didn't care
even
about
realizing that you was disrespecting yourself more than you
exactly.
was disrespecting anyone else. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Because
Yep.
really, you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like you
Mhm.
lose track of your own worth. You know what I mean? And you
Right.
end up with
Right.
people that you typically wouldn't have even gave a time of day to, just because of a feeling about something that someone else had done to you. So I mean that's
Immaturity.
it
That was
comes with
immaturity.
maturity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'd like to say though, man, I think the other area for me of something that I wish I would have learned before is just knowing how to receive correction, or should I say, uh, well, the biblical word, I guess you could say rebuke, or you know what I'm saying, being
Hmm.
corrected or called out on something, being
Right.
able to hear it without being getting upset, you know what I'm saying, or
Hmm.
feeling uncomfortable, because it's like most times men do not like to be corrected. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Especially by the female. You know what I mean? A period,
Hmm.
really. But when your wife or your girlfriend corrects you, something that you've done wrong, or some way you said something the wrong way, it hurt her feelings and things of that nature. That's one of those areas where we really do feel like we get kind of like defensive, because we don't like to feel it. But I believe the thing that I learned is how to hear it, and then how to adjust. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Ask the question, what could I have done better? How I could have done it better, and really, evaluate myself, because like
Hmm.
that's one of those growth areas that we hate to do, man. Reevaluate and
Yeah.
admit,
Yeah,
maybe I
I'm
was
glad,
wrong. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Uh,
I'm glad you said that, bro. Because I was just about to say that the other thing that I learned is to self improvement, to work on me. Every day
Hmm.
I get up and say, how can I be a better husband, a better father, a better friend?
right,
What can I do to improve me? And don't worry about working on the other person. Work
Right.
on,
Right.
you know, because you can control you.
Yes.
And if you make the changes in you, like my spiritual mother told me one day, and I'll never forget that. She said, if you want change, you got to be the change.
Right.
You got to be the change. You're not going to talk nobody else into changing.
Right.
But if you be the change, your actions going to speak louder than your words.
Right.
So that self-improvement, working on yourself, and like you said, man, being able to say, hey, I was wrong. Let me go back and fix this.
Right. Right.
Don't let your mouth or your actions dig a deeper hole than
Right. Make it
than
worse.
yeah, it just
Yeah.
gets worse, man.
Yeah.
It gets
Like
worse.
the fire is already there, and then if you add to it, this is about to add to the fire right here. You know what? James just said something, man, and this is funny because I remember my wife used to say this to me. He said, I think it's funny when we get angry, we will attack the ones we love and
Yeah.
treat them awful, but we wouldn't talk to others that like that. My wife actually used to tell me that, like, I would get angry about something and I would say something slick or raise my voice, and my wife would be like, "It's funny you would say that to me." She's like, "But you want people that are do you wrong out of the house, and you won't say,
You want to say,
you won't yell or you won't get mad at them." And I think it was like a comfort zone or something, knowing, like you kind of like it's like it was just one of those comfort zone areas. It seemed like, you know what I mean? Like you would do that at home because you just kind of felt comfortable at home to do it. And it's like I had to really check myself on that, man. And so here's the bad thing though that happened. After I checked myself on that, I noticed that I stopped biting my tongue with people because I used to be like, I don't want to like ruin relationships. Like, you know what I mean? Because
Right.
I have a really bad, I had a really bad position. My position was this. If I told you that, and this is for the people that were outside of my home. If I told you that I didn't like something, or I expressed to you that something you've done irritated me in some type of way, then I expect you to receive that. You know what I'm saying? And let's deal with it, right? So if they didn't receive it, then I would blow up. You know what I'm saying? Like that was that's all the way I knew how to deal with things, coming in. So what would happen was I would avoid addressing certain things because at this time, mind you guys, this was like right when I gave my life to Christ. So now I'm stepping into this realm of ministry and stuff like that. I hadn't become a preacher, a pastor really, but I was still trying to minister to people. So here I am trying to walk on eggshells to do the right thing by God. You know what I mean? So what happened was I would find myself not touching certain things that bothered me, because if I mentioned it to you and you didn't receive it, then I would blow up. I knew I would lose my temper and get, everything would be ugly from that point on. So what happened was I told my wife, she would mention, when she mentioned this particular line to me, what Brother James just wrote, at that time, I used to start telling her, she used to start telling me, and it helped me a lot because what happened, she helped me to address this situation. So what it would do, I learned how not to respond to her the way I was responding. But what it also taught me was how to have a conversation with someone without it becoming a crucial conflict. You know what I'm saying? So if I do mention it to you and you don't receive that, you just hurt my feelings, or you just made me upset, or you disrespected me in some way. If you don't receive it, I didn't blow up. You know what I'm saying? I could still keep my cool head and have a conversation. So I think it's different reasons why that happens. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because it is true, man. A lot of times people find themselves attacking or arguing in home easier, but when it's outside and someone does the same thing, basically you just mentioned that. As a matter of fact, Rashard, remember you said that earlier. When you said that, you was like, if one of us said something to you a certain way, you might let it slide, but the person in the house, you would just blow. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Now I'm just going to tell you, here go the flip side of that also. Like, I used to be explosive with everybody, especially outside, but things inside my house, I wouldn't say nothing. I just let it build up, and then I'm walking around on 99, and somebody just drops something on the floor, and I just lose it.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's danger doing it the opposite way too, just not saying nothing. And
Yeah,
just
that's even worse.
build up. So like I said, it go back to that communication.
Yep.
So when you said that, so like when I fully submitted my life to Christ, I found myself, people knew I was very explosive.
Right.
So when they see I wasn't going off like that no more, now they think I'm soft. Then I said, everybody was trying me.
Yeah, they start trying.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Right.
Trying to walk this walk, and why are these people trying me like this?
Yeah. That's the crucifixion right there, bro. That's that real crucifixion, man. Because I know for me, it's like, bro, like, man, I would go from 0 to 100 so fast. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, but now it's like people they try you in ways it's like outrageously crazy, man. And you be saying to yourself the whole time, like, bro, you better be glad I'm walking with God right now. Like, you better be glad I'm prayed up, you know?
The crazy part, bro. The crazy part, see, how I growed up, I love confrontation. I used to.
Right.
And my wife, she knows. She said, well, you love confrontation. You know, like,
yeah.
You know, and that just like that. You talking about, like you said, I'm going from 0 to 100.
Right.
And to scale that back and be able to look at a situation and say, you know, say your little prayer and then try to communicate with somebody. But that was a hard adjustment.
Yes.
I knew that. I knew it that if they would have caught me out here when I was running the street, they would never caught me like this here.
It would have
They
been.
would never say that to me.
Yeah, it would have been a different story, man. You know, it's crazy because I found myself taking a lot of deep breaths in Christ. You know what I'm saying? Like you talk to you know, it's crazy, man. Like you take a lot of those moments where you take a deep breath and meditate a second before you respond. I was just like, man, like, wow, man, my mind is telling me to do so many different things in my head right now. It's like, I'm just not going to do it, you know. But, you know, it's because, you know, one thing that you do learn as a believer is that the devil just would love to mess up your character. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Witness. He want to mess up your witness as much as possible. So he'll try you and push every button to get you on, just to get your face in the news, just to get your face, you know what I mean? Just like for everybody to be able to say, I knew it. I knew they wasn't really converted. I knew they wasn't really saved. You know, it's one of those things, man. It's crazy. Hold up, let me read this right quick. Brother James said, Lord knows I would not talk to my mom like that because my dad would have brought me back. Oh man, my dad, man, I think that's one thing. Like I never saw my mother and father. Like I saw one argument my mother and father had. And but out of that, I never saw anything like I've never seen him call her anything out of her name. You know what I'm saying? And I've never seen anything like that, period. But there would be no disrespect. Like for me, I couldn't even fix my mouth to say anything bad to my mom. And it wasn't just out of the fear of my dad. It was just out of the respect. Like I was brought up with so much respect for my mother and father, where I don't care what they did. I could never fix my mouth to even say something. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. Even after death, you know, I still couldn't fix my mouth to say a bad thing about her. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just still, you know, who I am. And that's basically our upbringing was just really serious when it came to that. And I knew now if I had stepped out of the line, I probably wouldn't have lived because my father would have took my head off by the time he made it to home when it came to that, you know.
Wow, man, you know, bro, I was over 40 years old the first time my mom ever heard me curse.
Yep, right, exactly.
How much I love my mama, man. I think everything I did, everything I did. That I did it because I wanted to make my mama proud.
Right.
You know, I loved her that much, man. I mean, that a mother's love, brother. That's something deep.
Irreplaceable.
If I was with you and you disrespected your mama, me and you probably
do that too. Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You know, that's how much I love and revere mothers, man.
Yeah. It would have been a whole problem. Yeah.
I don't even understand. I don't even understand these cats today, man. That
No
That's
respect.
disrespectful to their mama like that. I can't
No
do it.
respect. When I see a kid or even an adult talking to their parent like they like they're a peer of some sort, that's where you can tell that like these topics that we've been talking on tonight, a lot of stuff was missing. You know what I'm saying? Is
Yeah.
some big gaps in the life somewhere that nobody trained or taught someone in different areas. You know, and I think the key to all of this is one thing that I know, especially for us that are on this call, on this video tonight. One thing that I know, we may not have been taught a lot of things in the areas of emotions and in love, in relationship terms, in depth. Um, and a lot of that stuff was because it wasn't present in their life. You know what
No,
I'm
it
saying?
wasn't.
But
It
yeah,
wasn't.
yeah. So I
Mhm.
mean, we can't really fault them for it. You know, we kind of learn as we go where we miss pieces at, and then add that to our story that we tell our children. But at the end of the day, I think it's very important for us to keep in mind, you know what I'm saying, that everybody didn't get a chance to get the element that we did learn, which was respect. Um,
Mhm.
you know, and that element is kind of like a big time foundation for everything else. And if those other things were added on earlier, I believe the success rate in relationships would have been a lot better for all of us. You know what I'm saying? Because you know there possibly could have been relationships that could have lasted before. You know what I'm saying? Even
Right.
the relationship that we're in,
Yeah.
but because we did not
Mhm.
know certain things or how to handle things, there's some people that we would have never dated. There's some people that we would have kept probably. But
Yeah.
it's like because we didn't have some of these elements, it's just, you know, we kind of got to pick it up where the ball was dropped and you know, play the rest of this game of life. Marilyn says that hubby is still working on it. He's still working on it. Keep him in your prayers. Um, and she said trying to take that New York attitude out of him has been a challenge. I guess this is in the anger area when it comes to dealing with, you know, people outside of the home sometimes. Um, yes, I thank God for parents like that too, James. Absolutely, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's missing now, man. Most of the parents remember remember the time period where parents started turning into um uh they were going to the clubs with their children. They were so young.
Right.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
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 Remember when that started happening, right?
Yes, yeah,
So
yeah.
that started happening. That was really the big beginning of
Mhm.
what we see now. You know what I'm saying? Because the age gap was
Mhm.
shortening where
Yeah.
parents are
Mine
just
was. Mine was.
spending.
I had kids. I had kids at such a young age
Yeah,
that I went to parties and I would see my daughter or my son there. I would
yeah,
leave.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like, Daddy, why you leaving? Man, me and you can't party together.
yeah,
We can't hang
Mm-mm.
out like that, yeah. How you gonna respect me?
yeah, yeah.
You
Mhm.
know,
Exactly, exactly. The respect level would have went away.
sometimes
Exactly.
I want to tell you, bro, that if I meet somebody that don't love their mom, I run from
Right,
them, boy or girl.
right, right.
But like I said, because I always tell myself, if they can't love their mama, how the hell they gonna love me?
They cannot learn. It's impossible. It's
Yeah,
impossible. You haven't done nearly as much as a
yeah,
parent has done. You know what I'm saying, in their life. So how can you possibly um love someone else? It's very man. It's something that we have to really focus in on. Things that we should have learned. Things we should have learned before. Another round of this, fellas. And I hope some of my people jump on and drop something inside of the chat to talk about some things that you may have, some things that you might have even, some things that you may have even learned along the way that you would like to share tonight. Go ahead and jump on the in the chat room, drop it down, and we'll make sure we share it on the screen and talk about it a little bit. Um, I know another thing, fellas, that man, I wish I would have learned. One thing that I wish I would have learned. Man, I wish I would have really learned not to have sex with anyone until I got married.
Yep.
That
I was
that
bringing
for
up,
me
yeah.
is one thing. I don't care how great it might have been.
yeah,
I don't care about the experiences, man. After you've married and you found the real connection in life, what marriage brings to the table, and how much deeper intimacy really is outside of just the flesh touching. I believe that one area, if I could apply any of the things that we've shared tonight, I believe that one thing is the one number one thing for me,
Hey, bro.
like with a star next to it.
Well, we
I
don't.
wish I had no
We
other
done talked
experience.
about. We done
Like,
talked about this a million times.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
in the Bible. Jacob was in love with Rachel,
Mhm.
and her father slipped Leah in the room with him, and he laid down with her face to face
right. And didn't know her.
and didn't know her,
Right.
and thought it was Rachel. So that me and Thomas, we talk about this all the time about laying down and having sex with people that you don't know.
Right.
That's you laying there face to face with them and you don't
Mhm.
know them.
Right. 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 It's so important, man. It's so
Yeah.
important. And
Yeah.
and it's like you don't realize how much damage you've done meant to yourself mentally.
Yeah.
Forget the physical
Mhm.
damage. How much mental damage you've done, because most of the struggles and issues you'll find later in life will come from all the memories and things that you've experienced already.
Can I paint a picture for you?
Yeah.
You go out, you have sex with somebody, and God forbid y'all have a child.
Right.
You don't love her. She don't really love you. Now you bring a child in the world,
Right.
Mm-mm.
and that child is trying to figure out why mom and daddy don't love each other.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Why this doesn't look like this looks? Or
Everybody
Mhm.
else,
yeah. Yeah.
and that's I've seen it a lot. I actually done been there myself.
Right.
Had a child with somebody I didn't love. It was just I was having sex. At a young age, 16, had a child, a high school dad, and had a baby.
Mm-mm.
And and that traumatized him as a kid. He still got issues with it now.
Yeah.
So that's something that needs to be talked about and expounded upon. You know, just laying down and having babies and having sex and don't even know what love is. Babies having babies.
Right. And that's well, because that's what you just said is the real key of it. Really, it's not it's not love. It's really exploring,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the
lust.
thrill
It's
of
lust.
exploring that
Mhm.
lust. You
Yeah,
basically teaching each other how to lust after each other. So what happens is, like, man, we get in this spiral. We tell the lies as young men. We have this picture we painted that the more women you have, the bigger the guy you are. You know what I'm saying? Like you get
right.
exposed for that. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
you really look at things like that, man. It's like we set ourselves up for destruction, really, and we set ourselves back so far. You know what? One of the things
But
we learned in
bro,
college,
bro,
man.
bro, check this
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
And we're cheered on and celebrated for doing it.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's just how. Yeah, yeah. And see, that's taught though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
We were taught it. We did it. We
Yeah,
taught another generation. That generation is doing it now. Let me listen to the music. If you listen to the music, it's man, it went from 95 South and Luke to a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
we go all the way up now. This generation is talking about it to a whole nother degree. And it's like now
right.
it's more degrading than ever lyrically. And it's like, but they take joy in that even in that. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
it's really crazy, man. But you know what I learned? One thing I learned in it, and after you really look at it, I question it. And in some areas, like in college, where you learn that you're taught that the more education a person has,
I said no.
um, that more likely they're not, more than likely they're not going to engage in a lot of premarital situations sexually,
Mm-hmm.
because they see more worth in themselves because they put more effort into their life. You know what I'm saying? And if someone had less education, they already think low about life in a lot of ways, earnings and things of that nature, to where they really don't think of themselves highly enough that they look for the, I guess, the the fulfillment through attention and things of that nature.
Right.
So, but then when I really look at it, man, it really does. It really crosses the board in every area. You know what I'm saying? Like rich
Yeah.
or not rich, educated or not
Yeah.
educated. I know a lot of educated people that participated in sexual situations, just like the least educated. So at the end of the day, it really does give you this picture where you see, man, look at how many risks you're taking. Think about the little bit of thrill that you'll have if you could only sit down with some of these brothers and sisters and really hear the horror stories of how it affected their lives by being sexually involved with people that you were not married, you're not gonna marry, you're not married to, or no intention to marry. Man, you probably would really think twice. You know what I'm saying? If you really could sit back and think of and hear some of the stories, the horror stories. So yeah, man, that's one of those areas, bro. I wish I would have learned that one a long time ago, because I tell you, man, I would have bypassed a whole lot of headaches in life. And even just mentally, I would have been more sound mentally in a lot of ways, man, coming into my marriage.
You know, another thing that that I struggle with, and is growing up in the hood. It's like I remember they had a song called "The Hood Tucked Me Under." I always felt that no matter what I tried to do, I always had one foot was always still in the hood. Go
Right.
to college,
Mm-hmm.
you still got a foot in the hood.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. You got to be able to separate the two and
Yeah.
go on and get to another place. But as long as you got a foot in the streets, a foot in the hood, you always gonna be trapped. You always gonna be
Oh,
making bad choices and bad decisions, and you got a foot in the church and a foot in the streets.
right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
still making bad choices and bad
Right.
decisions.
Right.
I think that's one of the hardest things for us to do is to break away
Yeah.
from that. And when you look back on it, bro, wasn't nothing good though. Wasn't nothing good though.
Yeah.
You know, and we most of us we blessed now. Our kids don't grow up in the same place we grew up in.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've been blessed that. But then also you see
They won't
how
survive.
we
Man,
talk about
man.
this all the time
Oh
too,
my
man. We talk about
God.
how they is, too. You know,
And
they're definitely not as street smart, as savvy as we are.
bro, let me tell you, and this on everything I love, man. After I gave my life to Christ, I got married, right?
Yeah.
And moved out of the hood, moved away from the hood,
Mhm.
moved into a nice little spot, quiet town again. Man, I get a phone call one night out the blue. Now watch this. I'm going hard right now, really trying to, walk right. This was like the
Right.
beginning of my walk with Christ. Out of the blue, I had cut ties with everybody out of the street, everybody that I used to run with. I get a call man out of the blue, like, yo, I really got to ask you a question. Man, I got 2 keys that just came, and I don't know nobody to get them to work. Bro, now let me tell y'all what happened, man. In my mind, I had so many thoughts. Like what you
yeah.
say, like that one foot in the street, one foot.
Running fast.
I had so many things in my mind of how I could do this and still watch this crazy part, and still be right with God. Like I tried to come up with every
Every school,
conclusion I
yeah.
could come up with, and God really did. Man, God
Can't do it.
that thing, man. He dealt with me so hard. So man, I was literally like sweating the text. I was like, I'm gonna holler back at you in a minute. So I was like sweating, man, like trying to figure out how to word this in a text to figure this out. And I was like, you know what, bro? I finally just said, you know, I'm just, bro, I really ain't about that life no more. I'm done. You know, I'm not really about that life. You know, so and you know, do you know anybody? I don't even know nobody. You know what I'm saying? That's how I did. I had to like really
Yeah, you
cold
got to.
turkey it because that's really what happens to us, man. We get great. We change our lives for the better. We try to start this journey to change our lives for the better. And if you've ever been in the street, if you didn't change your phone number, if you didn't change ways for people to contact you, the circles that you was in, the streets will find you again.
Oh yeah.
Like they will find you, like literally, especially if you was out there like that. So it's like, so for me, I think it's important, like especially our brothers going out and they get into college, they start playing basketball, they make some money. The first thing comes to mind is, man, you just got a check for this amount, several hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know how you could flip that? You know what I'm saying? You know how you can make that money turn into more money like overnight? That's the type of things that, you know what I'm saying, happens to you know, to a lot of young people that are coming from the hood. And so you're right, man. It's a lot of times it's that mentality that really does defeat us, man. And we can learn how to take our feet out the street and like, I'm done, like really cut it off. Once you learn how to do that, man, your life, you kind of set yourself up for better things in life, man. But like I think it's always been a security blanket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Because
always been a security blanket. Because you can make a phone call at any moment.
Yeah.
If someone tried you or you had a situation that you didn't want to get your hands dirty, you can make a phone call at any moment and call the right people and tell them to handle it for you. Because you know what I mean?
When it comes to money, bro, when it comes to money,
and even when
hard in my struggle to walk this walk.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm absolutely 1,000% sure that God take every man through this thing where something wrong with your money and walking with Him.
Oh man!
And so you got to depend on Him.
Oh yeah.
And that notion to just go out here and touch these streets just for a little bit and get what I need. I mean, boy, that and tell you that Facebook Messenger dangerous too, bro.
Right, especially bro. Especially when you know you never had a problem with money.
Right.
Like, especially when you know money was never a problem. It's not hard for you to get money. Yep. That's when the devil play with you the most. Because it's like, okay, now you're on God's side. You on God's side, man, and you struggling. You on God's side and you need money. You know, this isn't going through. So now the devil comes back and he reminds you, remember when you was with me? Remember when remember when you used to do?
We could do it again.
Yeah, you could do it again. Do it one more time. One more time.
One more time.
No. And that messed up a lot of brothers, man. A lot of brothers. A lot of them. Yeah. You gotta learn how to trust God. That's that. I guess what that area right there, what you're talking about is the one thing you wish you could have learned is how to trust God instead of yourself for getting what you get. You know, man, that's a rough spot.
Yeah,
that's a rough spot.
I think, I don't know. I don't think it's written anywhere in the Bible, but just my experience with God, man, I think is your trust in Him is even more important than your obedience, bro. To trust Him.
That trust
Him.
Trust, you know, and I'll put them neck and neck together. But I tell you, trust is very important. You know what I'm saying? Trusting God, believing, because really trust is believing God.
Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying?
It's believing God. And truly, obedience falls right into the same pocket space because truly, you can't be obedient to a God you don't trust.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It really is all wrapped in together, really. So, and so, I mean, when I think about it, man, just that factor of trusting God, and that is every man, I think every human being's test is, I think the real test that we all will go through is, do you really trust God? And if you trust Him, you got to get off the boat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? No crutches, nothing else to depend on but Him. And He will put you in a place that you have no one else to depend on but Him. He'll do it.
You ain't never lied, bro.
And it'll prove you. It really will prove you it will prove you. It says every man's works must go through the fire. It must be tried by the fire. And he said, whatever is left after the fire, that's how you know what the truth is in a man. That is the real truth of the man, is what's left after the fire. I tell you, man. I see somebody put up something up. They said life is more peaceful on the Christian side. You're absolutely right about that.
I challenge that. I say life. I challenge that.
He said, I challenge that.
I challenge that one, boy.
Hey,
you're gonna have some trials of walking with God, boy. I'm telling you.
But at least I don't sleep. I don't have to sleep with
somebody believe
pistol. Here goes something that I do realize. I don't have to sleep with my pistol no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like once I gave my life to Christ and moved away from all of what I was living in, bro, I didn't have to sleep with my pistol under the thing no more. I didn't have to walk around with it on me all the time. I didn't have to watch my back anymore. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to worry about, you know what I'm saying, those threats of life. You know what I'm saying? I have a lot more peace in those areas. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I have to admit that. Man. I have to admit that. Wow. Man.
Yeah,
wow. When you say that, man, it reminds me of them days, boy. Making cookies. Making cookies, wondering who gonna break in and they don't know what cookies is, but anyway.
Right.
They ain't that lame, bro. They know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. It's amazing, man. It's just a lot of things for us as men. I think this was a very necessary conversation because for us, I believe it really, the transparency of us men sharing things that now that we're seasoned, older, and we survived. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us got the scars and the records to prove, you know what I'm saying, to show what we've been through. And so when you really start thinking about that, man, it really does help a lot of people.
How long we been friends, bro?
Oh man.
Over 30-some years, right?
30, yeah, it's been a long time.
Look at the development of the content of our conversations over the years. See how it came, how far it came,
bro.
I
remember being in Miami with me, you, DJ Khaled, all the guys from the hip hop television shows, the yacht parties. I remember all of that. I remember it all. I remember the conversations. I remember the bizarre nights. I remember the chances, the risk taking that we took. And I remember that, man. That you know, and now that we're where we are, you know what I'm saying, in another level, man, trusting God, it's something, you know, because we could have been anywhere else. Like, you know what I'm saying? We was in the industry. I mean, with all the names, all the biggest names we were with all the time. So when we really think about it, man, that it's like to make a choice to not continue down the way that we was going and to give our life to Christ and do something bigger and for a bigger purpose. I think when we all think about that, man, like you can't help but know that there's purpose in our life and that's what keeps me on a level plane of trusting God, number one, and number two, having integrity. You know what I'm saying, for what I'm doing. Because if I wasn't going to be serious about God, I could have very well just lived my life and sold all the way out for the world, like what I was doing before.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, that's why I really don't have the taste to do anything risque when it comes to living for God. You know what I'm saying? Because we could be doing anything else, but we've chosen to do what God called us to do, man. And I'm proud. I just want to say I'm proud of all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Also, man, just for, you know, y'all lives have changed. You know what I'm saying? Y'all doing a lot different, man. You know, the development, and if anybody else knew who we were before, you know what I'm saying, bro?
They would run from us, actually.
Well, I was just saying, well, we're different now. You know what I'm saying? But it's just if they knew
totally different.
Everybody
loves God, bro. God is able, man. Go ahead, bro.
Everybody loved that old dude. They don't like this dude that much.
That's the crazy part about it. You know the crazy thing
Yeah.
is, and I know this is just a chat moment, bro. I really never had my name in the street in a bad way until I came to Christ.
You know that's deep.
Yeah,
That's deep, bro.
before
That is
Christ,
deep.
I did all the dirt in the world,
Yeah.
and nobody talked about it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, everybody loved me, and nobody talked about it. But the moment I came to Christ, all of a sudden, man, I got more name bashers in the world. Like,
haters.
You know, just bad stuff to say about you when you're trying to live right. It's just crazy how that go, man.
I haven't had like real good sleep in like probably 2-3 days, and you know, and I'm looking at myself on here, and somebody out there probably talking, say, man, he in the show high. I'm sure people will take every little thing and run with it. You know.
But I mean, it's a good thing, man. I'm glad we was able to jump on tonight, though, and talk, man. I hope this blessed some people tonight. I really do hope this blessed some people tonight. I would say to conclude, man, I would just say, matter of fact, before I say my piece, let me just give y'all the opportunity. Brother Cam, what would you like to say to close out for tonight on your part?
Just keep trusting God. And if you had old ways, guess what? Think about your new ways now, especially if you're with Christ. You know, just stay focused and trust in him. You know, there was an old song says, trust and obey, because there's no other way. Just to be happy in Jesus, just to trust and obey.
Yeah. Brother Rashad?
I would tell everybody tonight, just invest in yourself, keep working on yourself, and you can always better your best. So every day, strive to be the best version of you that you can, and what you can't fix and what you can't do, God will do the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, brother. Man, everybody that jumped on, thank you so much for jumping in tonight. It's been amazing. The show has been amazing. Just having the input from everybody, and fellas, thanks so much, man. It's really, let me just clap that up for y'all. It's really good, man. Being able to chop it up with everybody online tonight, man. It's just really been good. And thank you guys for joining in. Share this if you're just jumping on again. Brother Cam, you about to say something?
I'm so sorry, man, but when I'm looking at Rashad, he looked like a headshot, man. One of them stars.
Yeah.
Because you got the white background.
Hey, man. That's what's up, man. Listen, so for anybody that was watching the show tonight, I just want you guys to know that it is always good to continue to reflect and continue to look at where you are, where you came from, and then look at where you can go from here. Just let God continue to download into you and learn as much as you can learn, because it's never too late. It's never too late. We can lose a lot of time, but it's never too late to get better. So let's be blessed through this night, guys. Things that you should have learned, you wish you could have learned. God bless you guys for the night. That's our show for tonight, and we're about to sign off and go back to our original piece. As you know, here comes Tiff.
Take
us out, Tiff. Here we go.
They say he can't, but